Did you know this sheet could save your life, but most people just throw it in the garbage? Hi, I'm Clyde with PowerWash.com. Let's talk about safety data sheets. A safety data sheet is divided into 16 sections. Every safety data sheet is going to have the same sections. There's always going to be 16 of them. Let's go through the kind of information that you can find. In the first section, you're going to have general information about the product. You're going to have the product name, you're going to have the number for the emergency contact, and the number for the contact at your chemical supplier. And then in section 2, you're going to have hazard statements and precautionary statements from the global harmonized system. So just general information about how to stay safe when you're using this particular chemical. And then the third section is going to be composition. So the different ingredients that go into producing that chemical, and there may not be exact formulas in there, but they're going to give you a percentage of each ingredient in that chemical. So you'll have a general idea what the most prevalent agents may be in your chemical. And then moving on, we have section 4, which is first aid information right there. So if you happen to get this particular chemical on your skin or in your eyes, in your mouth, it's got information about exactly what to do right here in section 4. Section 5 is firefighting instructions. In this particular case, V5O2 is reactive with water. It's going to have an exothermic reaction. So trying to put out a fire with water when there's V5O2 involved is going to cause an exothermic reaction. So the SDS recommends using dry firefighting materials or CO2. And then section 6 is accidental release measures. So if this happens to spill or get into groundwater, it talks about personal protection and how to contain the product. Section 7 talks about handling and storage. So how to transport the chemical, how to use the chemical, and how to store the chemical while it's on a shelf. Section 8 talks about exposure control, how to mitigate your risk when you're using a chemical. How do you prevent yourself from being exposed to the effects of this particular chemical? Section 9 is the physical properties of the chemical, and that covers everything from viscosity to color, odor, everything you'd want to know. Section 10 talks about stability, how the chemical is going to react with different agents, how the chemical will react if it's left on a shelf or if it's frozen or anything like that. So section 11 is going to be your toxicological information. So the toxicological information is talking about routes of exposure, basically if you are exposed, how it's going to affect you. Section 12 is ecological. So if this gets out into groundwater, how it will affect environmental concerns. And then section 13 is disposal. When you're finished with this particular chemical agent, how do you dispose of the wastewater or the waste product? Section 14 is very important. It's about transportation. And if this chemical is regulated by the DOT, there will be information in section 14 about the DOT information. And it's important to know that OSHA manages the safety data sheet and they all follow a global harmonized standard. But when it comes to transportation of that chemical, that's where the DOT is in charge. So if there's any information related to the DOT or other transportation agencies, it'll be there in section 14. Section 15 has regulatory information, and then section 16 can be different depending on the SDS sheet that you're viewing. It's just additional information that chemical manufacturers might want to add to an SDS, so it may be different depending on the chemical manufacturer. All the other sections should have the same information that I discussed in this video. So again, you should always read your SDS sheets. Make sure you understand the information in your SDS sheet, and then make sure that you follow all of the precautions, all of the recommendations for personal protective equipment, and all of the recommendations, of course, for storing, transporting, using, and disposing of the ingredients that you use to do your power washing. If you have any more questions about safety data sheets, give us a call here at powerwash.com. We're happy to help.